right, let's talk about something called the Atom Man paradigm. It's a whole new way to think about learning, and it really starts by tackling a problem that I'm pretty sure every single one of us has experienced.
So, you know the feeling, right? You spend weeks, maybe even months just cramming for a big exam. You walk in, you get through it, and then what happens? Poof! A few weeks later, it feels like all that information just evaporated. Gone. Like it was never even there.
Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. It's because most of us were trained in what we're going to call the city of answers. Think of it like this imaginary place where the whole game is about spitting out the right information at exactly the right time. That's how you win.
And this is the central belief, the guiding principle of that whole system. The elders of Examoria, so to speak, basically taught us that knowledge isn't really about understanding or creating anything new. Nope, it's just about remembering. And that's the very idea we're going to take apart today.
Okay, so let's dig into the city of answers. Let's really look at why the knowledge you gain there just seems to have such a short, sad half-life.
There's a more formal name for this. It's a memorization-centric system. And that's exactly what it is. The entire setup, the schools, the classes, the tests, it's all designed for one single goal, to get you to reproduce a known answer when you're asked for it. That's it. And the flow of this system is, well, it's kind of built to fail in the long run. See, information comes in, you pay attention to it, you cram it into your short-term memory, usually through endless repetition, right? Then you use it for the exam. But then what? That final step always comes: decay. The information just fades away because, honestly, the system never intended for it to stick around. And this, right here, is the system's biggest flaw. Look, it's great at churning out people with degrees. You get a piece of paper that proves you once knew the answers. But the second you face a real-world problem, something that wasn't in the textbook, the whole thing just falls apart. It's like a battery that can hold a charge for a little while, but has absolutely no way to generate its own power. So, what's the alternative? What if there's a totally different way to learn? A system that's built on a completely different foundation, one that doesn't just store knowledge, but actually creates it. Let's dive into the hidden physics of how knowledge really works. When you boil it all down, the difference is, it's actually pretty simple, but it changes everything. The old system is all about recalling answers. The new system, the one that real innovators and researchers use, is about generating answers. Okay, this table really lays it all out. Just look at the difference here. The input for the old system, facts. The input for the new one, problems. And the learning unit goes from just an answer to a model. It's a total shift from short-term memory and repetition to long-term memory and actually experimenting with ideas. And the output? Wow. Instead of just getting grades, you're creating real insight, a real contribution. So the big question is, how do you get from one side to the other? How do you make that leap? Well, the core difference, the real secret here, it's probably not what you think. A lot of people think, oh, so I just need to stop memorizing stuff. But that's not really it. I mean, memorization is still a useful tool, even for the pros. And it's for sure not about just studying more. That's just running faster on the same old treadmill. You're not actually going anywhere new. Okay, here it is. This is the key. The real shift is moving from learning answers to learning how answers are created. See the difference? It's about going from just being a consumer of information to becoming a builder of the mental engines that actually produce it. And that brings us right back to our hero, Atom Man. He didn't escape that city of answers by trying to tear it down. No, he escaped by rebuilding his own mind from the inside out. So let's get practical. How can you build your own engine just like he did? He took everything he learned and just rewired it. He started asking a totally new set of questions that turned every piece of information into a real source of power. And here's the blueprint he followed. So, whenever you're learning something new, instead of just trying to memorize it, you ask these 5 questions. First, what's the real problem this is trying to solve or model? Second, what are the hidden assumptions here? Third, can I actually run a little simulation of this in my own mind? Fourth, and this one's huge, where does this idea break down? Where does it fail? And finally, number 5, how could this be made better?
And you know what's incredible? The moment you start seriously trying to answer those questions, you've done it. You've already made the jump. You're not just a citizen of Exmoria anymore. You're literally operating at a research level of thinking. That's the mindset.
And when you make that shift, your entire relationship with knowledge changes. It stops being about just remembering stuff. It becomes about active creation, about really, truly understanding.
I love this quote because it sums it up perfectly. Memorization is about storing answers, like putting finished products in a warehouse. Modeling, on the other hand, is about building the factory that can create brand new answers for problems you haven't even encountered yet.
And that's the ultimate transformation, right? That's what Ottoman did. He stopped being just a student, someone judged by tests. He became an architect, a builder of thinking systems. And that exact same opportunity, it's available to every single one of us.
So there you have it. The blueprint is right in front of you. The choice is yours. You now have everything you need to leave that city of answers behind and build your own engine for understanding. So the only real question is, what kind of system are you going to build?